I should have parked the 944 first. Ah, tight squeeze. I have all my cars in the same place for the first time in a while and the last time in a while, so I thought it would be a very appropriate video to go through all of the cars in my car collection today. It's changed a little bit through the last couple of years. Don't even remember the last time we went through all of the cars in one place, so I said, you know what, might as well. A couple of cars that have departed probably since the last time I made a garage update or a little tour of some of the cars is my Bronco and my C5Z06. So talking about the car I probably made the most videos on out of all four of the cars that are here today is my 1990 Mazda Miata. This is indeed the very first year that they made this car, and it is the short nose crank version. In my opinion, it's very tastefully modded, but it could use a couple more things. Some quick updates on the car. Unfortunately, I ran over a deer. I didn't hit a deer, but I ran it over. We do come under the hood here. Well, the car's been acting weird ever since that incident. I continued to drive the car for a couple of days, and I didn't really notice anything crazy going on with the car. And then one day I took it into the city, and the car started to get a little warm. And I thought it was just a fluke accident. The temperature gauge reading wrong, something like that. I pulled over, I let the car cool down for a couple of minutes. I thought, you know what, well, I'll just keep the fans going. If the fans are going to be on without the engine being on, some cars do that, some don't. And then I just pulled over and let it cool down for like 10-15 minutes or so, and it was fine after that. And then I didn't really drive the car too much. I rode my motorcycles for a few weeks, and the car sat for probably 10 or 15 days or so, and I noticed that underneath the car was a puddle of coolant. Very small drip. Poked my head underneath it, and yeah, what do you know, the radiator is leaking. Most likely when I ran over said deer, it cracked the radiator, so we're gonna have to change that. Great. I filled the coolant back up, took it for a couple of drives. Now it's been acting a little weird. When it's cold, the car is cranking a little bit longer, so you know, normally I just 2 cranks and the engine would fire up. Now it's 3-4 cranks, so I don't love that. I'm going to change the oil in it. It's probably overdue for an oil change. The other thing, maybe the injectors or something is going on with the car that are starting to fail. Once it's warm, it acts completely fine. Other than the clutch, the throwout bearing is now starting to make noises again. Last year we changed the slave cylinder and the clutch master, so that fixed my issues for the time being, but I was starting to experience the year prior some noises coming from the transmission. And I came to the conclusion at the time that it must be the throwout bearing making a little bit of rattling. Right now it's doing it, so I'm probably going to park the car for a winter here, and then if we get an opportunity to drop the trans, we're going to do a clutch job on it. But I also want to get it in the air and examine what else might have happened and what else might, you know, if there's a kink in a line somewhere or whatnot. The car's low, and I think I missed most of it, so we got to just look at what else might be going on with it. I think it's officially time for the new clutch. I waited for the clutch for a long time. It was on back order. We're doing a stage 1 on it with a lightweight flywheel. We'll be changing that come springtime, or if I have time during the winter. This car needs a couple of small things, but if you're not familiar with it, I did purchase a hardtop. This is a NB hardtop, which has the defroster in the back as well as a headliner. I put N-key RPF 1s. I'm running 15x8s on the car. It's 205 50s on it. Everything else is pretty stock under the braking system and the wheels. I do have BC Racing coils on it that we did install about a year prior or so. I put a Momo steering wheel on the car. I got a Monte Carlo in it, and I got Sparco seats. 1 Sparco seat. I need to still get a passenger, but honestly, it's a little overkill for the Miata. I enjoy just having the passenger seat be a stock seat, and they can just enjoy, and I can drive sporty when I want to. The goal is still to autocross the car, but because of the transmission rattling and whatnot, plus I've been busy this summer, I didn't get the opportunity to. I want to prep it for the springtime and get this car on some autocross courses. I think it'd be fun. I'm not sure if I need a roll cage. I don't think I do, which has always held me back. Someone told me earlier this year that I don't need a cage, so I think I'm just going to send it. I also do have a short shifter on the car, which is absolutely awesome. Probably the best mod that I've made to the whole car. The spring, the summer, and until about a week ago, this car was absolutely phenomenal, and I put about 1,000 miles on it, give or take. I daily drove it along with my motorcycles and was my primary mode of transportation, so I'm very happy with this. Moving over to my newest car, this is my 1983 Porsche 944. This is a very early version of the Porsche 944 that still has the manual steering, the old style interior, and I'm very happy that I picked this car up. My brother had wanted a 944 for a number of years, and I spent a good amount of time searching for one initially when he wanted to purchase it. At the time, they were very expensive and very hard to find, or they were all super beat up. Couple of years went by and I'm like, all right, let's see if there's any 944s for sale. And there was one that caught my eye, which sparked the interest back up. And then I saw this one and I'm like, I'll go check it out. Let's see what the car is. And I've loved just working on the car. I've driven it a little bit now, and we have a video coming out next week, which we're doing a couple of minor interior bits to it and some servicing and whatnot to get this car really fully, in my opinion, back on the road and healthy again. Even though the winter's coming soon, I hope to enjoy it a little bit more in this fall season, but it needs tires, it needs wheels. I really want to change the suspension and just get the car feeling way more sporty, and I'm still torn what I want to do on the interior. Whether I want to do bucket seats or reupholster these seats, I honestly don't know. One way or the other, I want to do something with them because the driver's seat is all torn up. Either way, I was never the biggest 944 fan. I didn't dislike them, but I was never a 944 guy, as you might say. But owning this car and driving it and continuing to upgrade and doing small bits to it, I started to enjoy a lot. I always thought they were cool cars, but not something that I would necessarily gravitate towards. For the price, I think they're absolutely amazing, and I always thought that, but price aside, it's a really good car. This car sits inside the garage. We've got a decent amount of rain here recently, as you can see, with all the cars covered in water spots right now. I believe the sunroof drains are clogged because in the front over there, it leaks inside the car, which is not good. Clearly not good. They say this car is black, but next to a black car, this looks brown. I really don't know the exact color code of the car, but it's pretty unique, it's pretty fun, and, well, it is a Porsche at the end of the day. We're gonna move past 944 because there's a video coming out on it very soon, but moving over to my 1982 Mazda RX-7. I purchased this car in January of 2024. I then purchased a month and a half later my Corvette. I bought this car January 1st, 2024. It was a pretty cool story. It's funny, very hectic time. But I sold the Corvette and I decided that I wanted to keep the FB. The FB honestly has surprised me. I thought it would be similar to my buddy's FC, just kind of like a weird, quirky rotary car, but it's turned out to be more of like a vintage car and an old school car experience that I've fallen in love with. And it's just such a great car. Even though the rotaries can be temperamental at times, even with that, I think they're just a little too cheap right now. They're hard to find good examples of, and I got lucky that I bought this car from someone in an RX-7 group that I'm in, so I kind of knew where the car was coming from. It had a couple of nice modifications to it. It is on the higher side of mileage. It has about 200,000 miles, but the engine has been overhauled at some point, along with the clutches. Fairly new, but I think I'm going to do a little bit of work with that. Compared to the Miata, this car is a little easier to take the trans out of. Miata's not too bad either, but there's a shifter bushing that I want to change, and it's so much easier to have the trans down. And we'll take a look at the clutch life and all of those things. I go back and forth between wanting to keep the car and selling it. The only reason I consider selling it is just to get some space back now that I've bought the 944. Either way, if I was to sell it, there's a few things that I want to do to the car, like the braking system needs to be fixed a little bit. I think whenever I fix the suspension and brakes and put some wheels on it and get the car feeling like my car, I'm not going to want to sell it, which is totally okay. The one thing I do at some point want to do to the car, this was originally a red car, and there is red poking out in the engine bay and in some places, and I don't love it. I really want to take the red completely off the car or paint it back into the red. I'm torn between the two. I just think it looks so sharp in black. I want to keep the black. The Miata is the only colorful car here. I like colors, and it's kind of a shame that my palette is lacking. Even my Corvette was silver, and that's the reason I sold it. If I'm being honest, if it was a yellow Z06, probably would be sitting here right now. I like to paint the 944 or wrap it into some crazier color. I don't love the brown that's on it. I don't hate the brown that's on it. It's just, it is what it is. This, when it's all polished up, it looks super sharp in black. Now moving over to the final car, it's starting to rain here a little bit. This is the car that I've had for the longest out of any single car. This was basically the first car that I ever went out and bought. I went through earlier this summer, we did fluids, we did diff fluid, we did engine oil, good once over, a look over of the car, put some new tires on it, got some Firestones in the original specification. The Michelins I deemed were too expensive for not enough benefit. A lot of people talked and raved about the Firestones, so that's what we did. I'm honestly loving them so far. For those who do not know what this car is, this is a 2000 BMW M Roadster. This has the S52 from the BMW M3 in it. It's a wide-bodied performance variant of the BMW Z3. Just like any M car, it's got quad tips in the back, a wide body, and a proper M engine, even though a lot of people say that the S52 isn't the best engine in the world. I think it's great. It's very reliable. It makes a good amount of power. It pulls strong. And even though it's not the Evo motors that are available in Europe or the S54, which came a year later, the S52 is reliable, makes a lot of power, and isn't maintenance heavy like those engines. It's talked down upon with enthusiasts, but in all reality, if you want a car that's gonna work, this is a phenomenal engine to have. It's got a 5-speed in it. I just think it's a really good looking car. I don't like that it's silver, and a very common M Roadster problem is someone at some point hit probably a parking curb and chipped this front bumper here. So what I'm thinking is, if I take this bumper off, I get it repaired, and I try wrapping the car. I would love to have a Laguna Seca blue car. They didn't make too many of these in Laguna Seca blue, but it was a factory color. But there was also the green. I believe they call it Everest green, and that color was only available in the BMW Z3 M Coupe and Roadster. The silver is an iconic BMW thing of the era. The E46 is, you know, a silver E46 is the standard color. Standard BMW Z3 M Coupe or Roadster is this silver. So I accept it for what it is, and I like it for what it is, even though I'm not a fan of silver cars. It has its time and place is what I'm trying to say, and think it's appropriate on this vehicle, but come on, let's be honest. It would look really cool in green. And that is the 4 cars that I currently have. There's a few cars that I really want to buy and own and experience, and it's time to get a daily. If you can't tell, none of these cars are going to survive in Wisconsin winter. They're all going to be parked, and I'm going to be left without a car. So that's a problem that we're going to have to figure out in the next couple of weeks here. But before all of that, I think I'd like to have a shop to work on these cars. I adore cars of this era, even though that they're cheaper cars. I'd honestly prefer owning cars from this era, the 90s, 2000s, the 80s, rather than a lot of newer ones. With all that said, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Hoodies are out for a limited time only, so pick them up while they're still available. If you're watching this by the time they're all sold out, there's plenty of drops to come, so pick yourself up some merchandise on vintageracingclub.co.